Hello everyone, my name is James and welcome to Shard TCG, and oh boy, here we go. We are diving into the Imps today, and I find this extra exciting because I absolutely love all of the Imp cards. They are my babies. I've designed them all and redesigned some Lycanites mobs ones of course as well. I've put my heart and soul into these, so let's dive in, and we're starting with the neck. Now when the neck came about, I thought, let's make a golem type imp, a cave dwelling imp, a creepy, pale skinned, like greenish complexion, those bright yellow eyes that you could picture just staring at you in the dark. And then let's add some like scorpion stingers, but to the wings, and there you go, it's beautiful, there it is. And I absolutely love this. So it's a one shard poison imp. It has cloak, so it's good at hiding. It literally hides in the dark and poisons you. I mean, it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's great. It's got only a 1 attack, which means it's not very strong, but 2 health, which is average for a 1 shard creature, but then a 3 counter attack with wounding. That means it's especially good at just waiting for your opponent to come in, make its attack, and the neck just jumps out there, hits a massive 3 attack, and leaves a wound there to just slowly whittle down your opponent. Then we jump onto its effect, Lethal Infection. When this creature damages a wounded creature, inflict +1 wound to the wounded creature. So if your opponent's creature is already wounded when the neck attacks, then it's inflicting 2 wounds onto that creature. That's a dangerous compounding effect. And the neck is just a brilliant level 1 poison card to have in any deck. Okay, and our second imp of the day is the Pixen, and the Pixen goes brilliantly with the neck when we read its effect, Trickster. When this creature is targeted, you may target a creature in your hand with the same summoning cost. Return the creature to your hand and then free summon the target creature into the position that the creature was in. The summoned creature becomes a new target. So the Pixen is brilliant because when this is out in the field, if your opponent decides to attack the Pixen, you have the choice to swap the Pixen out for something like a neck or another 1 shard creature. But with the neck you have that strong counter with wounding, which is quite detrimental for your opponent. So you can see how that'll start to work. As well, the Pixen also has Spellbreaker, so it's great at getting into the backline and destroying your opponent's spells. He's a little bugger, he's great, look at him, you know, he's got a cheeky grin. Well, he doesn't really have a grin because he hasn't got a mouth, but you know, you can tell he's cheeky. So yes, the Pixen is a 1 shard Fey Imp with the Fairy Swarm ability. Now, I'll have to do another video in the future covering all the creatures that have Fairy Swarm, because for those of you who don't know, the swarming ability allows anybody with the same action name to combine their attacks together and move in for 1 massive attack. So we should definitely cover the Fairy Swarm, as I've already covered the Rodent Swarm ability. If you're curious about the Rodent Swarm video, I'll pop a link in the top right now. Okay, and now we're moving on to the cute one. So we have the Demofret, and look at him, he's adorable. He's a little 1 shard fire imp, and he's got Tormentor. That means you want to attack him. You have to attack him. You can't help it, which is great because the Demofret can draw attention away from other imps that you might want to keep out for a little longer, or just other creatures in general. His effect is Elemental Conjure. When a creature with the same element as this creature is destroyed, you may free summon this creature from your hand. So if a fire creature is destroyed on the field, it just bursts into flames and loads of Demofrets can pop out because you can use this effect multiple times. If you load up your hand with 5 Demofrets, guess what? Guess what? You can summon 5 Demofrets at once, and that is a lot of shards to get on the field in one go, so it is definitely worth having this if you're going with an elemental base deck. Its attack, Fire Rain, isn't very strong, being a 1, but it does have a swarm ability, so once again you can swarm with other creatures that have Fire Rain, which is also very handy when you can summon 5 Demofrets at once. You can create a 5 attack Demofret. Because remember, the main theme for Imps is luring you into a false sense of security. Just when you think you have everything in place, a load of Demofrets could just pop out on the field, and then you've got that to contend with. So have fun if you're fighting against an imp deck, because not everything is how it seems when you're fighting an imp deck, and that's why I absolutely love the imps as a creature type. Okay, and next up we have the Demerix, which is quite similar to the Demofret. It's a one-shot frost imp with the same effect, Elemental Conjure, so we can do exactly the same thing as the Demofret, except with frost-based creatures. It also has Tormentor, and it also has an attack swarming in Hailstorm, so it is a like for like. But I love the art for the Demerix as well. I love his grumpy little face. You know, he's just this tiny imp, but he's got such an attitude. You know, he's got the, what's the word, the small man syndrome. You know, he wants to fight the biggest thing on the field, and you know he can't, but you know he's gonna give it a good go anyway, and you just for a second believe that he could win. And our next one-shot imp is the Gremlin. It is our Chaos Imp, and when it came to the design of the Gremlin, Richard really wanted the Gremlin from the movie Gremlins. So in terms of body proportion and shape, he is very similar to that, but I still feel like he has his own Shard aesthetics. So he's not a straight up copy, but definitely inspired from the Gremlins movie. So when we look at the Gremlins title, it is the same as the Pixen. It has Spellbreaker. So this imp also likes to get into that backline and destroy spells, which makes him another little bugger. And they're all little buggers in their own way. And this is just how the Gremlin likes to pester your opponent. He likes to just destroy and pick apart spells. You can just picture him on the field just going, oh, what's this symbol on the floor, and just rubbing it out and just being awkward. He also has the effect Pesky Summon. When this creature is summoned, in Entropy, destroy the creature, you may destroy one spell on the field. Or in Extropy, you may free summon a one-shot chaos creature from your hand. Now, because the Gremlin is a chaos creature, he does use Entropy and Extropy, which is what we use for chaos element creatures in Shard TCG. Depending on the state of the field, whether it's entropic or extropic, activates its effect. So if you summon the Gremlin in one state, it might just randomly blow up, but it'll take a spell out with it. If you summon it in extropic, then you can get a bonus creature out as well. So both effects are useful. One seems more useful than the other, but it's just the way of the Gremlin. So have fun using this creature. It's definitely a pest, but that is what we want from the imps. So if you love him, good. If you hate him, even better. We've done our job. Okay, this is our first two-shard imp. It is the Clink. He's an earth element with Tormentor. So the Tormentor title, as I've already explained, means that you have to attack the Clink. He is drawing fire from other imps and other creatures on the field, so he's very useful to use in that way. Now, if we look at his stats, he's got a 3-4-1, 1 being the block. So with a 3 attack, he is a little bit below par, but that 4 health hits the average for a 2-shard creature. Now, if we look at its effect, Fatal Witness. When this creature or a creature of the same type as this creature is destroyed, you may search your deck. Draw one creature of the same type as this creature to your hand. So this is very much an imp effect where we're encouraging imps to be destroyed, but in return we get a reward for that. So as long as the Clink is out on the field, if something else is destroyed one way or another, the Clink can draw cards to your hand. Now this can be quite challenging because the Clink does have Tormentor, but there are plenty of imp effects that allow them to destroy themselves, and imp focused spell effects that will also destroy imps or reward you when an imp is destroyed. So there's lots to do with imps, and if you lose an imp on the field, don't worry, it is not the end of the world. And next up we have the Arrex, the larger version of the Demerix. Now these two aren't just a baby form and an adult form, they are different species altogether, almost like a pygmy type species. Now a bit of background on the Arrex art. The Arrex was the very first Shard creature that was designed, but it has been redesigned since, so this is not the original art. But the original art was a trace of somebody else's design for an imp type creature, so that's why it was redesigned, because I didn't want art based off a trace, But from that first design birthed all the imps that we know today, and it really helped find the imp's unique aesthetic. So the Arrex is a 2-shard frost creature. It has an ice fireball which has sap. So even though it only inflicts 3 damage, it does sleep the opponent's creature, which can be very handy because it stops that creature from defending itself for the rest of the turn. The 1 block is also very useful. Combined with that 4 health, it means that it can guard itself from most other 2-shard creatures. And in its effect, Cold Ending, when this creature is destroyed, target an opposing creature, rest the target creature. If the target creature is already resting, sleep it instead. This really helps slow down your opponent's momentum when they're coming at you. If you can have an Arrex on the field, either the Arrex is attacking the opponent's sleeping creatures, or it can be resting or sleeping the creature when the Arrex is destroyed. This can buy you some vital time to get more imps out on the field to then be destroyed to trigger more useful imp effects. And now we move on to the Alfred, which once again is a larger version of the Demofret, but still a separate species, you know, like a pygmy species, which I've already explained with the Arrex. So the Alfred is a 2-shard fire imp. It has Zealot. Zealot allows this creature to use 2 actions in 1 turn, which makes it incredibly deadly, because even though it only has a 3 attack and a 3 health for a 2-shard creature, which is below the average of a 4/4, it can use its action twice, which means it can inflict up to 6 damage in 1 turn, which makes it incredibly strong. And any buffs that you do to it, say you buff it by just 1 attack, it's essentially buffing it by 2 when you think about it using its action more than once. Its effect, Blaze of Glory. When this creature is destroyed, target an opposing creature, inflict 1 wound to the target creature. So this imp's effect may seem a little underwhelming, but it is a nice addition to have. But when you think about it having the Zealot title, it is more than strong enough to validate a place in your imp deck. And the next 2-shard imp that will be shown off today is the Guilgar. It's our version of the Gargoyle essentially. And even though that it's an earth type imp, it has a water type move, because the lore behind gargoyles is that they spew out water. So we thought this was a fun mix to work with. So even though it is earth type, it uses a water type action, which is called Aqua Blast. It inflicts 4 damage, which can take out most 2-shard creatures, which is very handy to have. It also has a nice 1 block, which combined with its 4 health means it can defend itself against another Guilgar if it were to attack it with an Aqua Blast. So there's a little example for you. Its effect, Hold the Fort. When this creature is destroyed while blocking, you may free summon a creature with a shard cost equal to or less than the creature and with the same type or the same element as this creature. So the Guilgar fits in earth type decks as well as imp type decks. It has a good mix between the two. It's not better than one or the other, it's handy in all situations for retaining field presence. The Error Brax, a 2-shard void imp. Now this fella also has Tormentor, which we have a lot of with the imps now. I think that's 4 Tormentor title imps. So a lot of them want to be attacked. That is essentially the theme of the imps. They want to be attacked, they want to be destroyed, because when you do so, they trigger effects that will make them fun. They trigger spell cards that makes them a lot of fun to use. So the Error Brax has Occult Tendrils, which is an attack with banishing, which means if it destroys the creature while it's attacking it, then the creature is not sent to the graveyard, it is sent to the void, which means they can't use it anymore. It's very annoying, it's a nice annoying effect, and it also has that on its counter, Lacuna Lash. So be aware for that action effect, it can really scupper some people's strategies. Its effect, Ablation. When an ally creature is sacrificed, this creature gains +1 strength. This goes against the imp way a little bit, because imps do tend to prefer to be destroyed. But sometimes you need to taper your strategies, and the Error Brax might come in handy for certain playstyles. But with this effect, the Error Brax will probably be more comfortable in a void based deck, where it can ramp up the damage and trigger banishing spells. And lastly, we have our biggest imp, a 3-shard imp, the Alpha Imp, the Grendel. Now the Grendel has the Alpha title, like I've already mentioned. This means that if there is another Alpha on the field, they will target each other, so be careful about that. And as you can see from the design, the Grendel is essentially a larger version of the Gremlin. I don't believe we will ever see an imp that will be a 4 or 5 shard imp. Imps are small creatures and I don't see it progressing beyond that level. But even though the Grendel is a 3-shard creature, it has the effect Temper. When a creature of the same type as this creature is destroyed, like an imp, this creature gains +1 strength. Now this makes the Grendel incredibly strong, because if you are building an imp deck and you can get lots of imps out on the field and keep the Grendel alive, then the Grendel will grow in strength when imps are destroyed. This gives the Grendel a unique ability to grow beyond the strength of a 4 or 5 shard creature. So even though that we have capped imp levels to 3 shards, this imp has the potential to take out any creature on the field if it just gets angry enough. We just need to get lots and lots of imps out and watch them be destroyed. The Grendel gets incredibly upset, gains some strength, and then just kicks ass. We love him, he's great for it, it's what he does. So the Grendel's starting attack is Crushing Blow, which inflicts 6 damage, which is already very decent. Its 7 health makes it quite hard to kill, and that 1 block means it's even harder to kill. And I think for a long time to come, the Grendel will be a staple card for a lot of imp decks. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this video. It was a lot of fun taking a look at all the imps and doing a little review on them all. Now if you haven't already, don't forget to like the video and hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you guys next time for another Creature Spotlight video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.